Blazers head coach Chauncey Billups, along with more than 30 other people, including NBA players, suspected of running a rigged poker operation backed by Mafia families. So this is video that we just got moments ago of Coach Chauncey Billups exiting the federal courthouse after his first appearance since being suspected of having a hand in the illegal poker operation. The alleged rigged poker games are just part of a two-pronged investigation headed by the FBI. The Bureau says the underground poker games used high-tech cheating technology to steal millions from victims.
And the other major alleged operation here centers on illegal NBA gambling and sports rigging. The U.S. attorney said this scheme involved using insider information to place bets on NBA games. In response to this investigation, the Portland Trail Blazers have put Billups on leave.
This morning, the team said, "We are aware of the allegations involving head coach Chauncey Billups, and the Trail Blazers are fully cooperating with the investigation." Billups has been placed on immediate leave, and Tiago Splitter will assume head coaching duties in the interim. Any further questions should be directed to the NBA.
Well, we are bringing you live team coverage of this major investigation, and we're covering all angles, including reaction from the fans.
Let's start with Spencer Schott, who joins us live outside of the federal courthouse in downtown Portland. Spencer, you were in the courtroom for Billups' first appearance.
Yeah, and it was a quick hearing. Chauncey Billups sat in front of a federal judge but didn't say anything as his lawyer, Chris Hayward, discussed his conditions of release. Now, Billups was arrested around 5 o'clock this morning on charges of wire fraud and money laundering connected to rigged poker games ran by crime families in New York City. That went all the way back to 2019. Now, back to this morning's arrest. He was held and processed in this courthouse, in the federal courthouse in downtown Portland all day, had his hearing this afternoon, and wasn't released from the courthouse until just before 4 this afternoon. According to the federal indictment, Chauncey Billups was hired as a face card. Essentially, he was there to entice targets to play high-stakes poker games with the NBA Hall of Famer. But according to the FBI, those games were rigged. According to court documents, the organizers of the rigged poker games were using high-tech equipment like a rigged shuffler, marked cards, and tables with built-in cameras and sensors to read players' cards in order to cheat them out of millions of dollars. The victims in this case, just named John Does in the court documents, lost anywhere from $50,000 to $1.8 million in a single game. The FBI says these games took place in New York, Miami, and Las Vegas, and have been going on for more than 6 years. Investigators say the victims in these cases lost more than $7 million, and that money was then laundered through shell companies and crypto. In court Thursday afternoon, a federal judge granted Billups release, but he asked to prepare a substantial bond, surrender his passport, he cannot gamble or have firearms, and was ordered not to contact anyone connected to this case. Now, because these charges were filed in the Eastern District of New York, Billups' next court hearing will be in New York City, and that is scheduled for November 24th. Reporting live in downtown Portland, Spencer Schott, Fox 12 Oregon.
Spencer, thank you. Meantime, the other aspect of this scandal includes a separate case involving an illegal sports betting scheme where those who have been charged are alleged to have profited off of learning insider information from multiple NBA teams.
And Fox 12 investigative reporter Adrian Thomas has been digging through the indictment today. He joins us now in studio. Adrian, one of the incidents allegedly involved the Portland Trail Blazers?
Yeah, Nora, that's absolutely right. So this federal indictment filed in the Eastern District of New York alleges multiple individuals, including current and former NBA players and sports betting influencers, all conspired to defraud several prominent betting companies. In other words, all the people in this indictment are alleged to have obtained insider information about different NBA teams to inform their bets and make lots of money. And one of the incidents in the indictment rather focuses on a Portland Trail Blazers game from 2 years ago. In the 23-page indictment alleging a vast NBA sports betting conspiracy that has played out in recent years, one instance focuses on a specific game from the Blazers' 2023 season, where the Blazers played the Chicago Bulls in Portland. The indictment alleges, quote, prior to the March 24th game, co-conspirator 8 told defendant that the Trailblazers were going to be tanking or purposefully losing. to increase their odds of getting a better draft pick in the upcoming NBA draft. The indictment alleges multiple defendants placed over $100,000 in bets the Blazers would lose that game, which the Blazers lost 124-96, resulting in hundreds of thousands of dollars of winnings for the defendants and other co-conspirators. Another element from the alleged conspiracy involving the Blazers centers around a co-conspirator number 8, who is said to have tipped off the defendants about the Blazers purposefully losing. That conspirator, who isn't named, is said to have been an NBA player from 1997 through 2014 and a head coach since 2021 and a resident of Oregon. Portland Trail Blazers head coach Chauncey Billups has coached the team since 2021, lives in Lake Oswego, and played in the NBA from 1997 to 2014. And it's important to note that none of the co-conspirators mentioned in that indictment have been charged as of right now. Live in studio, Adrian Thomas, Fox 12 Oregon.